How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Ilhan Omar and the Democrats' general direction going way into the far left. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want it, but it's too late. Cat's out the bag. Now, I got to back up a little bit here to explain what's happening. Ilhan Omar is a freshman congresswoman from the state of Minnesota. She has been making anti-Semitic statements lately and has been for quite a long time, going back to like 2012 and 2013 when she was not in this position, talking about AIPAC controls Congress. It's all about the Benjamins. You're posing with people that have anti-Israel views. Your Linda Sarsours of the world, your Louis Farrakhans, all these people. So this is not just a one-off thing where you're being accused of anti-Semitism. This has been a recurring thing all throughout your career, even before you really got into the big house, so to speak. Now, the Democrats were supposed to pass a resolution that decried anti-Semitism, okay? That was what it was supposed to be, but it wound up being watered down to denounce white supremacy and anti-Islamic discrimination, because it's hilarious how they're now trying to make Ilhan Omar be the victim, talking about, oh, she's getting death threats because she's a Muslim. She's getting a lot of anti-Islamic abuse online. But wait a minute here. She was the one that came out with anti-Israel, anti-Jewish point of views and has been for a long time. So let's not make her be the victim. Talk about what she did. If you are a public figure, you're going to get people that spew hateful things at you. That's normal. But you can't be in office talking about dual citizenship and it's all about the Benjamins. You can't be doing that. So the resolution should have just been for her. And it's hilarious to see this happen because the Democrats are losing their moral footing. They never really had one, but to the public they did, at least on its face. But now they're doing things publicly that wear away at the facade. That's going to be pretty much gone now because they, for a long time, have said that the opposing side, the right, my side, are the anti-Semites, the racists, the bigots, et cetera, okay? They were the ones that cried Black Lives Matter. And if you say anything else like all lives matter, then you're a racist because it's not about all lives, it's about Black lives. But then when we challenge them to denounce anti-Semitism, they say, oh, nah, we denounce that. But, you know, all lives, you know, you got to denounce white supremacy and anti-Islamic stuff, too. So just right there, you killed your whole argument in support of Black Lives Matter only. Now you got to say all lives matter. Now you're on our side. See, you're being pushed out of your comfort zone. You're being pushed out of your little niche you have for your constituency. And I like to see it happen. Now, they want to talk about white supremacy and stuff like that. They keep pointing towards David Duke. Okay. They keep saying David Duke is a racist. He is a bigot. He is a conservative. He's a Republican, ignoring the fact that he ran for office as a Democrat and a Republican during his very short-lived career. He was only in the Louisiana State Senate, not big house federal Senate. He was only in the Louisiana State Senate for one term back in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. He's not been in office ever since, as far as I know. But people on the left keep pointing to him as an example of how the right are racist. Okay. They keep trying to link him to Donald Trump. Donald Trump denounced him many times. But now David Duke supports Ilhan Omar because of her anti-Israel points of view. So are we going to say that Ilhan Omar is now a racist, a bigot, etc., like they say Donald Trump is for that same reason? If David Duke says he likes Trump and you force Donald Trump to denounce him over and over and over again, are you going to do that with Ilhan Omar? I mean, fair is fair, right? And if you don't, people are going to say, hey, wait a minute, let's look at some consistency or lack thereof. You can't say David Duke is a cancer and anybody that supports him, or if he supports anybody, they have to denounce him right away, but not say it for your own people. It's got to be a two-way street here. And you want to talk about former KKK members? Let's talk about Robert Byrd, who was in the big Senate, the federal Senate, on the Democrat side for 50 years. At one point, he was a president pro tempore, which means he would be the president of the Senate if Mike Pence were not there, and he would be third in line in a succession line. So if something were to happen to the president, vice president, speaker of the house, he would be the next person to become president. He was a very powerful member of Congress. He has buildings named after him in West Virginia, where I'm originally from, where I was born. This is a high-ranking person. He was in the Klan talking about, oh, I apologize for my times back then. I didn't really know any better. Well, David Duke not been in the Klan for a long time either, but people keep saying that he's an example of how the right is racist, although he was never really anybody. He was only in term for one particular period of time for 2 years. Robert Byrd was a 50-year Democratic senator, was never a Republican at all, as far as I know. But we don't say anything about him. We don't say anything about Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib, who is just the same as Ilhan Omar, and also AOC, who has a lot of the same talking points as Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Okay, you got Farrakhan cozying up with him and all these different, people that should be labeled as anti-Semitic that have left-leaning points of view. I don't want to hear anything else from the left about the right being anti-Semitic, because all the things they say that we do, all the things they say that we say over here, they're actually saying, they're actually doing. Okay. And I don't even want to go down the whole road of racism, calling Lynn Patton a token. I mean, what more evidence does anybody need about who the true racist, bigots, and hateful people are? You can't call Donald Trump some kind of anti-Semite. I mean, Donald Trump, his daughter is married to a Jewish man and she converted to Judaism. Do you think Ilhan Omar would be married to a Jewish man? Maybe to her brother, maybe, but that's a different story, and I digress. The point is, we see where the actual bigotry lies. And if what Ilhan Omar has said is not considered bigotry, then you can't try to assign anything like that or close to it to the right and label that as bigotry. Now, the left are defining the rules of the game, so to speak. They are the ones that have always been behind the moral grounding, because they got control of the media. But now they're losing control of their own party, therefore losing control of the narrative, which is when we come in on the right and define what the actual principles are. Because unlike the left, we have guidelines, principles, and values that we stick to rather than just changing like the wind. So what do you think? Do you think that Ilhan Omar is an anti-Semite? Do you think she is a bigot? Do you think she is a racist? How about people like Rashida Tlaib, AOC, and others in the Democratic Party? If not, then the same thing must be said for anybody that's affiliated with the right. And I gotta say one more thing here. A lot of people have been blocked on Twitter, Facebook, etc., for saying the exact same things that an Ilhan Omar would say. Matter of fact, people have been blocked for calling Ilhan Omar an anti-Semite. So let me get this straight. You got conservatives being blocked for labeling Ilhan Omar an anti-Semite. You got people being blocked for being so-called anti-Semitic, but Ilhan Omar herself, Rashida Tlaib herself, there's no kind of penalty. Not only are you not blocked on social media, which I can maybe understand because you are, in government, but you're also not reprimanded by your own party. There was a resolution that was passed that was supposed to be geared towards anti-Semitism, but wound up being this big, gigantic circus tent. And Ilhan Omar is also on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Congress. How are you going to be there with views about dual citizenship? It's all about the Benjamins and stuff like that as it relates to Israel. How can you have a non-biased point of view in the Foreign Affairs Committee when you look towards a particular country with disdain and their people as well? But that is pretty much all I got at the end of the day. As I close, I like what's happening on the left. They're being fractured. They're being torn apart. Nancy Pelosi has pretty much been tongue-tied for the past year or so. She doesn't know what to do, what to say. I say just enjoy the fire, get you some s'mores, and just eat on up. So whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.